turtles in a half shell. Turtle power.
We are ninjas. We strike hard, defend, protect, and fade into the night. And there ain't no bad guy or monster gonna ever change that. That's what's important. And that's why we'll always be brothers. Oh, I love being a turtle.
Greetings, fanboys and fangirls, I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster. I've been a devoted Turtles fan for as long as I can remember. There's just something about those rambunctious radical reptiles that appeals to me to my very core. For this reason, friends and viewers alike are always asking me questions about the enigma that is 2007's TMNT. A film that lives in infamy for being well made but horrifically confusing to mass audiences. Now I'll go ahead and admit that I like this film and I do enjoy watching it from time to time. But I have to admit that this film has its problems, so I promise you that the following will not be a Turtles love fest, and that I will do my best to go through this thing and dissect it as best as I can, to point out what doesn't work and what I assume that they were trying to go for. Now before I get to that, I just want to say that the animation and the backgrounds in this film are beautiful, and that this is the first time that I feel that they have ever truly captured the Turtles' superhuman agility and their amazing martial arts skills in any of the films. Not to mention that the brawl between Leonardo and Raphael put a lot of schoolyard arguments to rest. This is the absolute best cityscape I have seen in a computer animated film thus far. The city looks lived in, it looks grimy and wet, but it doesn't look photorealistic enough to make the characters look out of place. The designs of the characters, however, are 50-50. The turtles, Splinter, the creatures, and the monsters look great. The human characters, however, look like living action figures. They just look a little bit too stylized and flawless. Alright, enough of that. Let's start tearing into this thing and let's begin at the core of the problem.
The plot.
So a long time ago in a battlefield far away, an ancient warrior conqueror named Yaoto opened up a portal that was going to allegedly give him ultimate power. Faster than you can say, that's not how portals work, dumbass. 13 monsters escaped from the portal to plague the earth. But that's not all. This multi-purpose portal also turned Yaoto's generals into stone, and it made Yaoto immortal, so he would spend his eternal life recapturing the monsters. Now if this plot sounds somewhat familiar to you, then it should.
This is a warning to all living mortals that whosoever opens this chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth.
Yup, Ninja Turtles ripped off Scooby-Doo. Well, at least it was one of the iterations of Scooby-Doo that I find bearable.
The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
On the surface, this doesn't sound like a bad sci-fantasy plot. So what is the real problem here? What the fuck does this have to do with Ninja Turtles? Yes, I know, it's the main threat that the Turtles have to face later, but it still seems pretty damn disconnected from the Turtles' world. Hell, Yaoto, or Winters as he calls himself in the present, doesn't even find out that the Turtles exist until the end of the movie.
I must have hit my head pretty hard. I'm seeing giant turtles.
So yeah, that's the big sci-fi plot. But what is this movie truly about? Well, it's supposed to be about the Turtles being at odds with one another, learning to work with each other, and coming together as a family. Which sounds beautiful, but there's just one little problem. They never explain to you how they became at odds with one another to begin with. This movie shoots itself in the foot within the first two scenes. First, there's that overly complicated expositional flashback. Did this really need to be at the beginning of the movie? Cause the threat could have been mysterious and then be slowly explained as the movie progressed. This is probably one of the top 10 worst ways to open a Ninja Turtles movie, right up there with them dancing to ZZ Top. And then the second scene is a generic sequence of the Turtles running on rooftops with a voiceover telling you who the Turtles are.
Named after the great Renaissance masters and trained as ninjas.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is a fucking movie! Don't tell us who the Turtles are, show us who the Turtles are. For example, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. While some people might hate this movie, it still has one of the greatest reintroductions to the Turtles ever. A pizza delivery man tries to stop a robbery, when he suddenly realizes that he is way in over his head. When suddenly, the Turtles show up and save the day. efficiently showing you what they do. They fight crime using martial arts and one-liners.
And next time I'll use mustard!
And showing you who they are by perfectly showcasing each turtle, their personality, and how they operate. This right here is not movies. This is radio with pictures. But then there's the line that caused most of the casual viewers to check out.
They battled many creatures and foes before defeating their arch enemy, the Shredder.
Wait, what? They defeated Shredder? So what you're saying is that this is a continuation to the first 3 Turtles movies, where the Shredder was crushed by a collapsing pier? Because all the trailers advertised this flick as being a standalone film. But then, right after that, we find out that the Turtles are no longer fighting crime, and that Leonardo has left the team. What? So wait, is this a continuation to the 2003 cartoons? Season 3 finale, Exodus? When the Turtles defeated the Shredder and Leonardo momentarily left the team? What is this film a continuation to? Okay, so here's what happened in the 2003 cartoon. The Turtles and Splinter faced off against Shredder for one final epic showdown, and the Shredder kicked their collective asses. This wasn't a fight, it was a massacre. So the only way to stop the Shredder from hatching his latest evil scheme was to set off a chain reaction that would blow up his ship with the Turtles, Splinter, and Shredder still on board. The Turtles and Splinter nobly intended to give their lives to save the universe, but they were teleported out of the explosion by the Utroms, an ancient alien race that owed the Turtles some favors. While the majority of the Turtles saw Shredder's defeat as a victory, Leonardo, their leader, didn't see it that way. He saw this as an absolute failure. He blamed himself for their defeat at Shredder's hands. He hated how he was powerless to save his family when death was imminent. And he fell under the impression that the only way to keep his family safe from enemies that are as ruthless and as powerful as the Shredder was to become as ruthless as them.
Master, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just lost control.
Worried about him, Splinter sent him away to learn more about the role of a leader and its burdens from a tiny pudgy sensei called the Ancient One. Now this was a great storyline, and in my opinion, the absolute best of the 2003 series. I can definitely understand why anyone would want to emulate it in a film. But here's my issue. If you're going to break up the Turtles, you have to explain why you're breaking up the Turtles. There is absolutely no indication at the beginning of this film that it is a continuation to anything. So we assume that something happened during this ambiguous defeat of the Shredder that broke up the Turtles. Henceforth, that final battle with the Shredder was probably not the best scene to omit from the movie.
Idiots.
While I know that this film was written by director Kevin Munro, and that he intended the film to be an homage to all the incarnations of the Turtles, this movie still feels like it was based on a discarded script from the 2003 show. However, in the 2003 show, while Leonardo was away on his vision quest, the rest of the Turtles continued fighting crime. Here, not only do they stop fighting crime, but they get jobs. Why? And Raphael is secretly fighting crime as a masked vigilante? Again, for no reason. And I get what Kevin Munro was going for. He was drawing parallels between the Turtles and Yauto's family, which fell apart when they stopped functioning as a team, and Yauto began using them as the means to his selfish ends. This is what the Turtles could become if they don't learn to work together.
Your time for giving orders is over.
So Splinter was trying to teach them a lesson in teamwork. They can't go out and fight until they learn to work together. But here's the thing. Who the fuck is protecting the streets against the Foot, the Purple Dragons, and all the monsters that are always attacking New York in their universe? This is not like The Incredibles, where there is a reason why all the heroes and villains retired. Crime is still happening. So are teamwork lessons more important to Splinter than the lives and well-being of others? Cause that is one crappy lesson.
Idiots.
And the other big issue with the story is that to recapture the 13 monsters, Winters hires the Foot. Okay, first off, I thought Winters was Yauto, this badass ultimate general who led armies in over 1,000 battles through the course of history. There was no nation he couldn't conquer, no army he could not defeat. But he needs help from ninjas to capture 13 monsters? And that's the other thing. The Foot is an all-powerful criminal organization. Why would they hire themselves out to catch monsters? Menial tasks like this are beneath them. Also, terrible fucking way to introduce Karai to general audiences. Karai is Shredder's daughter, and she shares a torrid and tumultuous history with the Turtles, always straddling the fence between being their friend or their foe. Here, she just pops out of nowhere without any explanation, and then later, she runs into Leonardo, and it is very much evident that they know each other and that they share a rivalry and a mutual respect. Which is another reason why I think this was based on a discarded script from the 2003 show. So not only is the Foot's presence questionable, but early in the movie, Winters brings the 4 generals that were turned into stone back to life, and he has them hunt the 13 monsters. So why do you need the Foot again? I could digitally erase Karai and the Foot from this movie, and it wouldn't affect a damn thing. Now, let's briefly talk about an aspect of the film that did work.
Cast and characters.
Let's first go over the only character that was a little off. Casey Jones, played by Captain America himself, Chris Evans. Now, under different circumstances, I'm confident that Chris Evans would play a great Casey Jones. Here, his characterization is really off. Casey is supposed to be a gruff, badass vigilante.
Purple Dragon, come out and play!
Here, he's such a mimbo, a male bimbo. He's dumb and pretty, and that is not Casey Jones.
Real estate, technology, pharmaceuticals, hair gel.
I don't wear hair gel.
Really?
The rest of the cast is great. The Turtles were expertly chosen. Nolan North as Raphael, James Arnold Taylor as Leonardo, Mitchell Whitfield as Donatello, and Michael Kelly as Michelangelo. All 4 of these men are experienced voiceover actors. Hell yeah, that's the way you do it. You get experienced voiceover actors to play the leads and have the celebrity talent play the supporting roles. Not only did we get Chris Evans as Casey Jones, but we also had Mako as Splinter, Captain Picard himself, Patrick Stewart, as Winters, and my all-time favorite vampire-slaying girl, Sarah Michelle Gellar, as April O'Neil. Freaking awesome!
It's an actor's dream. It means no hair, no makeup, and sweatpants.
Not to mention several great cameos by the likes of Lawrence Fishburne, Kevin Smith, and the second voice of the Shredder, Jim Cummings.
That was easier than I thought it was gonna be.
Final verdict.
All in all, I think this is a decent Turtles movie, and it has plenty of affection for the franchise, but no affection for general audiences. This movie just had so much potential. There were so many interesting little details here and there. Like, for example, did you know that the 13 monsters were based on actual monsters from actual legends? Like the Gargoyle, the Cyclops, Bigfoot, the alligators in the sewers, the Jersey Devil, and Nessie? I wish they would have established this a little bit better in the movie because it is fascinating. But unfortunately, this concept has the same problem as the story and subplot. They just didn't flesh it out well enough. While I do love to watch this film from time to time, I hate watching it with other people, cause they always get confused and they bombard me with a million questions. I end up trying to answer them and not enjoying the film. As far as I'm concerned, the best Turtles movie is still the first. I give this one a 7. Close, but no cigar. And I only recommend it to hardcore Turtles fans. Turtle power. Join the Legion, suckers!
And when the portal opens, we'll lose the city to monsters within hours. Within days, the country. And within weeks, the world.
Oh, so it's like Halley's Comet, only monsters come out.
Yes, I guess so.
I'm smart.